going to Link, maybe Nien is what I want to say. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely there.
We see Voyboy and Saintvicious. It would be easy to pick a jungler on this one. Saint's usually one to pick it in the 1-2. He doesn't really worry about getting countered too much. He kind of makes his own role in the jungle with whoever he's playing. But still, time being taken within this game, just like last game. They don't pick the jungle.
Voyboy does what he wants.
Yeah.
And if they're going for a high damage composition like this, having Thresh and Karthus already, it means Voyboy can even more go with what he wants. And that opens up a lot of potential, just wide open potential for what Voyboy exactly wants to play. It also blocks CLG from doing a Karthus of their own if Nientonsoh was going to do a top lane Jace.
We've seen a lot of Karthus pick and ban actually coming into this first super week of LCS. Getting through here, we saw the Jace through and the Kennen banned, so those two working effectively as they have. And it looks like they're taunting Voyboy now as they hover Tryndamere.
They're messing with us a little bit today. Even though it's like, hey man, Tryndamere is kind of a counter to Jace. Maybe we'll do a top lane Jace. They're not doing a top lane Jace. That's a mid lane Jace, and I don't think we're going to see a mid lane Tryndamere.
They are taking their sweet time to lock these ones in, however. Love to see Saint on that jungle Karthus if he pulls it out. But all hopes and dreams on this one. They're messing with us super time now. But it looks like the pick's going to be locked in. Big Fat actually switching over to Sejuani, something that really didn't work effectively for him in his first attempt. And
it was the Thresh-Sejuani combo that in particular didn't work that well for CLG.
Right.
Big Fat's favorite jungler, as he's been picking up the role, has been Sejuani. It's what he's played the most of. It was actually banned against CLG twice already this weekend, so being able to lock that up with a second pick comes as a bit of a surprise, actually, that Curse decided to actually, I'd say the Twisted Fate ban is what I'd be surprised on, letting the Sejuani through.
I'm really, next week, when this comes in and these teams have a chance to play against each other and practice all these champions, instead of, like we said, there was a blackout for these guys to practice with team switches and everything before, all of this is going to get so much more solid, and that just, helps CLG with their statement of saying, we're still meshing, we're still getting this to work out. But they are sticking with things they've played with, which means they really are trying to work this out.
And we also have the jungle changes coming in next patch as well, so that's a whole other can of worms that everyone gets to open up, trying to learn each other. But a much more cop-ish AD carry in Ezreal. Keep his distance, stay in the back, do damage, all at the start of team fights. It's coming together for Curse on a team comp side, and here is where CLG fully decides their team comp. Because already this season, there's been a bit of a trend of Link carrying more and Doublelift kind of tag teaming instead of everyone trying to support him. Now we'll get to see if A, Doublelift picks a hyper carry, which he does in Vayne, and now B,
the Queen.
Are they picking even more damage? And they do.
That's going to be pretty big. They got good AoE. If Big Fat can lock them down with that first initiation, then everything falls into place. But I feel like they're hanging on that initiation with the comp.
They're hanging on Sejuani.
Yeah.
They need that Sejuani ultimate to land in just the right spot and then combo it up. But this is, again, a newish CLG. They picked a lot of threats in their win against Dignitas as well that went to a 70-minute game, and it allowed the rest of the team to kind of come together. I like the new CLG mindset.
I do like it. How do you feel about this full lineup, though? The disengage they have from everything with the Sejuani being the entry, the box, the Karthus wall, the stop for everything they have right off the bat.
I think CLG's going to be fine dealing with it.
Okay.
Basically, just because nothing is really pushing CLG back, and most of their damage is actually ranged. So they can slow them down and keep them there for the most part with Big Fat OP Sejuani, and then they should still be able to get most of their damage off.
All right, see how it plays. We still have a lot of early game to go and a lot of action in that early game to see between these two teams. It is going to be Edward taking his Thresh. So he still gets a hook, and they go for Lulu on the other side because they do have a team that needs to get into the fray.
And the top lane Ryze, as far as getting into the fray. That's another brawly champion. Just, I'd almost call Ryze like a bruiser AP, except he has carry level damage. So once he gets going, Ryze is ridiculous.
Q.
And that's one of the reasons the top lane is so important for them. And this is very interesting now because the CLG lineup we have has Nien in the top lane with Jace and Link in the mid lane with Vladimir. Even though previously we've seen those guys playing the other champions, this could be a total fake out. And it's going to mess with Voyboy and Nyjacky's runes because sometimes you'd want a rune for physical or magic damage. I'm going to see if I can sneak in and check Voyboy's runes right before the game goes in. But
we'll
they can change them to the last
5 seconds before. We'll keep you updated on whether they decide to switch or not. There's 2. There is 1, and it looks like they are going to keep that composition. The game has been into the launch, so we are going to have Nien on that Jason top lane. They choose to switch it up, so maybe they think they'll get 2v1'd in mid, give Ling really safe that 2v1 champion.
And both members of Curse were forced into generic rune pages, just flat armor and MR, none of the like full MR stacking or anything creative.
Safe page.
And they had to go for the MR, so they couldn't go for any extra stuff. Rivalry continues for Curse and CLG now, but slightly new faces.
We'll see what happens between them. Both comps looking quite strong. They've definitely done their homework here, but as we said coming into this week, they're also picking champions they're still comfortable on, and that's got to be 100%, 110% more true for Counterlogic Gaming and the new roster squad. So, on to the Rift, ripping to the third in chat, bringing you game number 5 live. Here we go.
Oh, man. So we almost made it through the Super Week. We got 5 games
Number 4,
left.
game number
This is
4.
Game number 4, but we got 5 games left.
Yeah.
So keep watching for the rest of the day. We're going to see who comes out of it with winning records here, because both these guys are 1 and 2, which means the loser of this game definitely going to have a losing record from Super Week, and that's not what either of these teams wanted coming in.
It's going to be a crusher on that hill of momentum that everybody's trying to climb right now, and Cloud9 has a flag at the top of. What, Curse looking to get far in on their wards? Link is just going to be able to give them the knowledge of where everything is going down as the rest of CLG makes their way to the top side. Pretty orthodox start here. I don't think anybody's going to get caught out.
It looks a little bit standard here. I mean, the main thing that I want to kind of point out is the huge amount of wards that have already been placed by CLG. A little bit afraid. Saintvicious has a quick problem with, I believe his mouse is what I just heard. That should be fixed pretty shortly for us, but, you know, not much yet to say in this big rivalry.
And looking at the items as we see, Rise actually going far in that utility tree for, as we've known before. He actually has the biscuit on him and his own Explorer Award.
Yeah, a couple people went 21 utility here. That'll be a little bit of extra for Voyboy. Also, a mana crystal start happened for Voyboy on that top lane Rise, so that generally means he has to play very cautiously early on. No move speed, but what it will give him is a bit more trading potential with Nien, since of course Rise skills that mana. Yeah,
and once he gets that tier, he's actually going to get free mana the whole time, so it's like he's bringing in gold. We saw like the tier can be like that, the Sightstone, the Wriggles, once the jungler gets it and moves around, it kind of just, it isn't a flow of gold, but it is.
It's trying to get there faster just because sometimes top lane Rise gets starved a little bit of farm earlier, but we won't know any of that or even any of the lane assignments until we see this level 1 play out.
We'll see where they decide to go. Still power in numbers for Curse, making their way to the top side. This is going to be seen. The pink ward goes in the bush, so they get a wide range in to make sure it's not in there. They clear it out, and it's going to be safe jungle coming around for Saintvicious on Zach.
Both of these guys, pretty good starts for them. I wonder how much jungle Curse is going to take for their non-junglers right now, and how much farm Saintvicious is going to require on Zach. We've seen Meteos destroy with Zach this entire weekend, but Saintvicious is going to have his own crack at it.
You see CLG putting a lot of consideration into Curse's level 1. Pink ward down at red to make sure they don't have any upper hand there.
Yeah, look at all the wards. I could see that just CLG was worried about a lot. Thresh hooks are very dangerous to play against at level 1, and I feel just like the presence of Edward made CLG put down a couple wards of their own.
All right, so pretty much mirrored on those wards as you were talking about. Some of the top, some of the bottom. We're going to have a very safe early part of the game, which means there won't be much action. But that means we get to see how these guys take to it, if they can try to get around that wall of no action. Holy, Nyjacky taking some damage here. Looks like he's going to be all right, though.
Yeah, he's going to go back to base as well. This actually tells me
bottom
that
lane
Curse
Blue
is,
Jacky.
Yeah, it's bottom lane Blue Jacky, and it also means Voyboy gets to have a solo lane against, guess who? Nien. Somehow they won the mind game, and Voyboy's getting 1v1 with Nien, but it's mid lane where Nien actually has a fair bit of experience because he played that role briefly in Season 2 as he was trying to transition off of AD carry back then, actually.
And it looks like it would really hurt. There's not much defense on Voyboy right now on that Rise. He's only 4 bar. That's 480 some HP. That level 2 Nien could be very scary.
I think he's actually going to be a little bit more scared of Voyboy, though, just because I don't think he's that familiar with the matchup. So Voyboy has a lot of confidence here, and Saintvicious is going to be backing him up.
All right, so Voyboy does have that help right away. They want to try to drop Nien. They know what kind of power Jace can bring to the game, even towards the mid section of the game with just a few items.
And bigfatlp wants to punish this early blue Karthus Nyjacky. This is the trouble. The one weak point of the game here for top lane Karthus is the level 2 potentially getting dove, which is why Nyjacky may just kind of give up his turret. And I'm very surprised that Saintvicious isn't going down there to help him, because if Curse wants to take, CLG wants to take this early turret, they're going to be able to. Nyjacky's just jungling.
Yeah, Nyjacky heading back. He has to get these wolves down. Then you can see Big Fat coming around. He made the right call there, and there may even be another switch up here.
And Curse took a lot of harass here on Edward, but they're still going in for a dive on Link.
Link throws himself down, 20% of his HP goes with that. The Ignite is still on. He's trying to dodge and use the turret so they cannot click him. It hits the minion on the hit. It's going to Edward as he comes up with the Thresh auto attack.
Wow, all three of them took a multitude of tower hits, and Cop did have to burn the barrier at the end, but the dive worked, and they're going back without killing the turret because they were all so low. I don't know which one's better, because CLG, despite not getting a kill, is going to be able to get this turret.
They do grab the turret, but Curse kind of falls back into the way they've done things. Curse Saintvicious having the hand in first blood, starting to get those lanes, starting to roll. That's
exactly what Curse was doing at the start of the spring split, and they're back to it again. Didn't get the turret, but they did get the turret dive, so we'll see which one works out better. It's all about how quickly Curse goes back to either dive again or get a turret, and how CLG responds to that play.
And you also have to consider who they attacked and what the viewers have really considered about Link and just the other LCS members. He has been carrying CLG, so it's going to be hard to stop him, even with that one kill.
And they're attacking Link in a sense as well, so they're attacking one of the CLG carries while letting the other one get going. But the carry that CLG really wants to always get going is Doublelift, and that's the Vayne, who picked up an early turret, is 10 minion kills up on Cop because he hasn't had to go back and shop yet, and is continuing to have some freedom in this game.
Oh wow, CLG is just everywhere. They're going to be able to put this one back in between the turrets. I was going to say, if it was going to be anybody, it'd be Saintvicious and Voyboy doing this with Ryze if they were ahead, but CLG trying to just kind of be reactionary on that top kill.
And their reaction for Curse is actually sending Saintvicious to 2v3 up top, which means that Curse has it down bottom, but Saint goes in against 3, and that's pretty much just going to deal damage to himself.
Saint getting poked, even Chauster getting the last few hits in. Doublelift keeping himself to just farm, knowing this is really just pressure on the lane until something can be a kill.
We've seen this story before, 3v2 in a lane, trying to push the second turret, everyone coming in. CLG now sending 4 for the turret. Haven't necessarily seen this one, but they don't get much damage.
Very reminiscent of our first Super Week back in the spring season of the fast turrets going down. We're 6 minutes rather, at the second tier turret already, but it's not working the same for Curse. They can't put the pressure on that lane because Vlad is just completely wave clearing. It'll be down soon, but he's putting a good stall on that turret.
Getting the hook onto Link actually scares him quite a bit. He will have his pool of blood open, but it means that that turret's going to be going down, so that most likely the next wave because he's going back, but that's a good bit of harass for Curse as they hold that other turret.
As I say, he's holding it. They get the perfect amount of pressure to take it down and try and activate on this second turret. Really not letting Saint be that facilitator of getting his lanes going anymore. He was top, and now he's forced to be bottom.
And I'm actually really surprised, though, at CLG's added attention to the second tier turret in the bot lane, because Nyjacky's got a couple levels out of him, and you're not pushing on a Karthus once he has a couple levels on him. CLG made almost no progress on that bottom turret, and I think they gave up their top turret in the process of trying to push the second one, so they're transitioning off that and trying to make it happen mid, which is what they should have done a couple minutes ago.
We still have Nyjacky at level 4. They hurt that lane so bad the global presence has completely been shut down. You already have a 6 Voyboy top. Link going heavy again. He puts himself behind the minions. Very well played. Going to keep himself alive as he dodges the last Mystic shot.
So close. And now Curse has an added push onto this turret, so a lot of back and forth here. Saint, again, seen this story before, dives in.
Oh, permafrosted down. A few more shots from Doublelift. He knows. Actually, he might be able to do that with Chauster there and Voyboy out of mana, but they play it safe.
Now Curse is trying to take the blue buff off of this as well, so all the turret finagling has given Curse a slight edge, because I think CLG overstayed their welcome in the bottom lane and really lost the advantage of having that early kill there for them. We'll get that feedback for you guys very shortly, as there was a successful blue buff steal.
It looks like Big Fat is going to be able to grab that for himself. Voyboy and Edward now taking to the mid lane. The turrets have been crushed down on the top side, so it looks like they now put the pressure onto this mid lane.
And let's see if CLG makes something happen here, because they've had some issues in the early and mid game trying to make things happen, whereas Curse has actually been making a lot of things happen in the early and mid game, and Curse has had trouble in some of the team fights. So Curse, again, winning the mid game, early game a little bit, and has triple tier, so we'll see how they play with that one.
Crying all over the place. See if they can get some
So
kills
sad.
for themselves and put some smile on their faces. 8 minutes in here, we're going to see a dragon. This is actually pretty early. Six minutes is the earliest ones we've seen, but usually it's about 10 or 11, so they're still going to take a good amount of damage here.
But Link is not there, and it would be a 4v5. I wonder how strong Curse really is here. They don't have any defensive items since they've all won Cheer of the Goddess. I think CLG could fight this 4v5 if they want to.
If that first shock blast hit, it would be an over fight for Curse right now. They're able to get the dragon and really not pressured. Nyan missing that first one, not too much of a problem. They'll be able to get this back.
And CLG spent the time to look at the dragon, but didn't push up any lanes aside from their top one. So I know I'm being a little critical of CLG here, but they could be playing this a little bit more optimally. Curse getting the 1,000 gold advantage because of it.
At 9 minutes in, it is 1-1 on turrets. You can see Link doing his damnedest to pressure these top turrets, but when you're an AP champion, it's a bit of a struggle. He's doing what he can. We see the mid lane now, Curse and Edward taking that area as they have pushed down, or Cop and Edward, I should say, pushed down top, and they actually left that top turret right away. They didn't get too much damage on it either, so it's just them prepping for this later part of the game.
And the wave clear is really starting to take off for these teams now. Link and Yen can clear quite a huge amount of minions, whereas Nyjacky and Voyboy, since Voyboy can pop his ult now, freely can do it as well. And with the dragon gone, we might start seeing an age of farming.
Karthus finally hitting that 6, and he's only not even a wave past it, so he has just gotten that under his belt. Now they can start getting a bit more global pressure. The fights have to be considered here now by CLG. They've been doing a lot that has kind of strung them out. They won't be able to do that anymore.
No, they are kind of okay though. It's 1,000 gold disadvantage. It's not as actually bad as CLG's game against Nientonsoh was before their comeback, so CLG's probably feeling pretty comfortable about this one. They know they have awesome team fight skills, and they have a very good late game team composition with the Vladimir plus Nyjacky, and then Doublelift on his happy champion Vayne.
And 91 to 70 or 79 in CS there. The BF sword already on Vayne, so he is already putting out a lot of hurt. Chase taking down the turret, the rest of the team as they move back. 10 minutes in, still just the 1 kill for Curse. By keeping Saint in that bottom lane, he was no longer to go top, or no longer able to go top, go mid, and he's been forced to farm this whole time.
And he hasn't even farmed up a huge storm either. 40 minion kills at 10.5 minutes, only 8 more than bigfatlp Nyjacky. Saint will have to start really diving in and making plays like all jungle Zax. He's maxing his elastic slingshot for the increased jump duration. But jumping onto double his Vayne is not an easy task. Many men have tried and failed.
And there's only so much pressure you can put on it before doing it again. Edward just getting the toss in onto Big Fat, stopping that back, most likely for the pressure, keeping Big Fat in the lane here. Doing great pressure. Hemo play going down into Voyboy. He can't get any damage to go on top of that. No, he flashes in, gets the Tides of Blood down.
Oh,
it's going to be damage from this. Oh, the Requiem comes in. Like I said, the fights must be considered.
And Void doesn't even need it. That's the dive comes mid.
Let's bounce. Big Fat gets the wild growth. Saintvicious is going to be blobleted, if you will. And it looks like they're going to be able to take those down quite easy. Edward just missing the hook off to the side as Cop was trying to come in. They are very low, and that would have been dangerous.
Surprisingly, the ultimate coming punishes them. Chauster flashes in, and I don't know if he got him.
Oh my gosh, Edward so low. Throws the box out. Chauster ignite one more tick. And the burn is not going to be enough. In the end, bam! Takes up Chauster, or Edward rather. Cop there just to watch it happen. Unfortunate events.
Whew, that was some crazy action after about an 11-minute lull. I got to say the Karthus ult going for to help Voyboy in the fight against Link kind of baited Saintvicious into diving a little bit, even though his team wasn't ready, and then it was all about the CLG counterattack. After all is said and done, despite Voyboy's soloing of Link in the top lane, CLG came out for the better on those trades.
The gold almost evening out. Now everything on that score sheet is just about even at the top. 12 minutes in. Cop not going back on this. He does have only 500 gold, so he's not really sitting on a big chunk of change. Nope. His last buy was that Spirit of the Elder Lizard, so he's getting the first piece of his item in, and really the most profitable one for right now.
And he's going for the regular blue build, which starts with a Spirit of the Lizard Elder. Doublelift's blue build Ezreal starts with a Bloodthirster, but the flaw with that is it requires a much higher farm threshold before it starts working, something that Cop necessarily doesn't have the option of doing since Nyjacky and Voyboy take generally more farm than the solo laners that do on CLG, so he wouldn't have time to go for it. He's going for the utility Ezreal, and Curse is looking for the damage from Voyboy and Nyjacky.
And that really, almost, that was very nice of him to help them smite that down with True Shot Barrage. And that's really indicative of his playstyle in general. A double lift to Cop, the safe utility in the back to the I'm in your face, everybody else is trash.
For a second there, I thought you were going to just like slam Cop and be like, you know, he loves helping the... No, he doesn't. That is not the way Cop plays, guys, but Big Fat takes the ward out in the top lane, and this could be a push on to Voyboy. That turret is very low. Voyboy thought twice before going into that one because he had to be worried about a dive.
So it looks like they got good pressure on the top lane. This is an easy takedown for them. Unless he pops his ultimate out here, he will decide not to. He's going to lose this turret. No, he does. Throw down the Rune Prison and that ultimate. They're going to go in. Saintvicious from the side. They say, let's do this, but not a lot of damage is going in. They're able to just kind of walk away from that one. The Wild Growth for safety.
This has got to be the nicest game for Doublelift that he's played in forever. He's had free lanes the entire time. He's got a Lulu babysitting him 24/7. And he has not been harassed, free to get every minion kill, and he's just farming up for late game. This looks good for CLG.
Confidence helps your play immensely as well. If you know your team has been peeling perfectly, and they're not really diving into the fights as much as I thought they would be past the Karthus. But then again, Jackie's been bottom the whole time, so we haven't got to see it. But Big Fat's actually been peeling quite well for Doublelift, and it's all about Chauster doing that too. So with the threats, it's still working.
And this is definitely an early throwback to the earlier games of Season 3 where since the turret game happened early, teams take the early turrets and then they say, we're not really sure what to do next. And CLG's actually starting to figure it out a little bit before Curse, as they've been able to generate now 3 turret kills. And I believe they're clearing out for the next dragon, which is going to be shortly. I think it's up right now. Let me check. Yeah, there it is.
I mean, the easiest way to do it is to transfer the 80 carries, right? Link was up in the top lane trying to take that turret, and he was just kind of throwing feathers at it. You got Doublelift up there. They were able to take down the last few hundred HP right away. So it's been the rotation of Chauster and Doublelift all across the map since the start, really facilitating a lot of movement for CLG.
Yeah, Lulu's also a support that Chauster's had a lot of experience on back when he played support. Chauster's bad games have came when he's on Thresh because he just hasn't learned the Thresh mechanics yet that Edward has been able to perfect all season in Europe. So this could be a much more comfortable and confident game for CLG.
There's definitely a difference between that playmaking support that Edward likes to do and the kind of, you know, support, if you will, that Chauster wants to come in and play.
The super peel. And Chauster peels better than almost anybody for Double.
Exactly. You just got to play that style. You see Cop and Doublelift do blue different builds, the supports as well. I mean, we used to see Elements when he played Lulu being one to flash ultimate in to start fights, so it's different for everyone.
I don't think we're going to see Chauster doing that.
no flash wild growth.
He's going to flash back to alt Doublelift because he's way behind the fight. That's all that Chauster really cares about in these fights. Maybe he would ultimate bigfatlp in a fight, but I kind of doubt that situation happening, to be quite honest with you.
So let's see where we're at on these tiers. There are 4 stacking up in the game. 352 on Rise. We have 432, so 500. This looks like a lot of 4s and 5s coming in on the side of Curse, and a 600 actually. So it's going to be Nientonsoh his first if he keeps those changes going.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of mana stacking that's going on for Curse, and I wonder what's going to happen when that actually transitions, because the idea with the tier of the goddess items, even though some champions get pretty good early spikes out of them just because they need the mana, is they're weak-ish in the mid-game until they transform into their full items when they spike up in power. And Curse will be hitting that spike up in power between the 20 and 25 minute mark. So come 25 minutes, if CLG hasn't started to put Curse away, Curse might come back.
Hey, hello. Chauster finding Voyboy, gets turned into a tiny little dragon, but he is going to machine gun out a few spells. Knows that Oracle is there and knows there's going to be members safe behind, or right behind it. Yeah,
and this, with Nyjacky in the bottom lane, it's just the Karthus ultimate that will be able to support Chauster. Getting a little cheeky trying to clear out these wards. The Thresh hook could come by at any moment, but Curse actually might try to trade a mid-turret here for top.
Doublelift still free farming in that top lane, highest in the game at 173, keeping himself up. He may even hit 200 before that 20-minute mark. He's got 3 minutes, but like you said, Jat, they are going to try to pressure this. They have a flank coming in, though.
And Compensate might want to run out of here before that turret goes down, or they're going to try to catch Link, because Link is there a little early.
Link says hello. They deciding if they can fight this. They're both having different ideas of what's going on. Cop not going in, knowing they're coming from behind, and Saint uses the slingshot to engage on Link. That's his escape. Here's the chase coming in, the ultimate. Not hitting, but slowing. Hemo Plague forcing the flash, the ignite. The kill won't come out, but a lot of pressure being put on from CLG right now.
The ultimate from Sejuani didn't quite detonate, so it only slowed instead of stunning Saintvicious, which allowed him to flash over the wall to safety. Otherwise, that Hemoplague would have detonated this passive, and CLG would have enough people there to clean it up. But Saint makes the great escape.
See what they do. Cop pushing out in the mid. He did get Glacial Shroud first coming in. Usually, sometimes you see people going for that Sheen after. What's the difference in the buy? Just he's getting dove more, it's choice?
It's definitely a choice. Cop has always been one to err on the side of defense as well. Not to mention, there's a Jace on the other team, plus the only magical damage he's really having to worry about is Nientonsoh, who isn't fighting Cop at this point. So Cop is more worried about the long-range poke, which is going to be physical damage, and he wants to avoid that early.
Tears still stacking. We do have the Muramana finally finished onto Nien, so he is at that point where he gets to boost in damage. He also has a BS sword right on the back side of this, and usually you'll see that kind of the blue build and then the last whisper for Jace, but Nien always goes for that hard damage right away, not the pen.
I like the Muramana right off the bat, and the Hex Drinker I feel like was more of a necessity.
Right.
Because he was a little bit worried about the magic damage, plus he's going to need it just throughout the game to try to defend himself from those Karthus ultimates. It actually hurts his late game progression a little bit, but it is probably worth it in the lane.
Chauster with that early Oracle still walking around. Edward has one of his own though, so it seems just to be a common thing now, these teams understanding that 15 to 20 minute map control where Dragons are going to be coming up again is huge, and Dragon is up.
And also because Curse needs to retake this map when they take this turret. There were so many deep wards placed by CLG once CLG picked up 4 turrets that Curse got the Oracles to safely allow themselves to push up here.
Moving up to the turret. Good lay waste to crush it down, but they don't have much. The turret's able to push it back in the end.
Curse has got to deal with Link in the top lane. That split pushing Vladimir is farming up a storm there. Even though he's 0-2, he's like split push Vladimir instead of split push Singed.
And you know something we didn't really pull out is that Vladimir might just be something CLG wants in their comp. It was played by Nien the first time and not so well. Link on Jace as we thought before, but they've switched it up, still wanting these champions.
They really want the champion. It'll amp their late game damage. They actually have a huge amount of threats, and I don't know if Curse is going to be able to deal with it.
Voyboy, oh my gosh, he doesn't even want to turn around to Rune Prison. He has to go and head in that straight line, straight home.
And the push from Curse gets a little bit repelled. The gold is still very close for them, and I feel like CLG is preparing for the next Dragon. Nientonsoh is going to have to run down bottom lane real quick and kind of catch Voyboy in a back cycle. CLG taking a lot of stuff right now.
Saintvicious coming back into the lane. You know, we heard going on to Edward, it doesn't look like they'll do too much. There's a lot of safety that can happen from that, and they actually flash it. I think that was about to miss, but he super safety for Chauster there.
Yeah, bigfatlp was a little bit worried about that. They swap roles so much. You're always wondering who's on what champion here, but it was bigfatlp worried about getting his giant model Sejuani hooked in. And also, it's a safe Dragon that they can potentially now take. Curse gonna try to stop this. Team fighting Karthus Rise, double AP in a tight corridor. We could see our huge bit of action here because the gold is close enough that this could swing things.
Nyjacky gets hit up. Not too much damage coming from that shock blast, only onto him. AoE was prevented by the spacing of the team right now. Saint goes in. They're able to get the smite onto Saintvicious. That's a lot of damage going on to Nyjacky. He's out, but everybody was on him for a second. They get the dive they wanted, Jat. You were correct. They're in, they're out, and it didn't even matter for the amount of stoppage Curse had.
Nyjacky died right in the middle of the river, which meant CLG couldn't push through to finish off anyone from Curse, and it was just a Dragon for a kill. Now it's CLG knowing, man, we lost the Dragon. Let's go get something back. We got Curse really low in that fight. Let's push mid.
There's Saintvicious coming in once again. This is a pretty big initiation. He gets blobleted. He's going to be all right. Doublelift getting hit up by the turret, and they choose to continuously stay. Doublelift throwing on the barrier. Wanted some turret aggro there for himself. Looks like they'll get the turret out of what they wanted.
2 kills in a turret makes that a win for CLG. There's still no kills onto Doublelift, which is very rare for a CLG game. Most of the time he picks up all the kills, but because they have so many damaging threats this time, we see a slightly different kill distribution on CLG.
You know, something that I was saying before that initiation in the bottom lane that Bloodwater said is when they played against Curse, it wasn't about Edward for them. It was as long as Saint can't get to our lane, we'll be fine. And CLG hasn't created lanes for Saint to be in. They went from lane to lane with Doublelift, took out the turrets. He did get first blood, as we were saying, you know, Curse would do in the beginning of the spring season. But they were like, if we shut down Saint, who's going to get fed in lane?
And who's going to go in team fights as well, since they are the double AP composition. Saintvicious is going to try to go in with Nyjacky, but unless he gets something a little bit more going, 0 kills, 2 deaths, 1 assist, trying to build that Aegis Legion, Saint's going to be blowing up. Doublelift just finished Phantom Dancer, plus he's got some MR. There's no physical damage to reach Doublelift, and I feel like Saintvicious might turn into cannon fodder if he tries to dive in.
Nyjacky, with that last fight, was really a zombie Karthus. And the disengage we said that CLG has allows them to get away from that if he dies instantly. So it's all about Requiems that Nyjacky has right now. They have to fight with that window.
Yeah, and bigfatlp is going to have to get an Aegis plus Runic Bulwark pretty soon as well, since Curse's AP champions are going to be hitting a pretty big sweet spot shortly, and that'll actually really help Curse's chances.
They actually
COD's chances.
Singularly have a lot of magic resistance. Link going down. There's going to be the Room Prison on the way back up. Boom! He gets hit up quite hard here. He's going to throw down a lot of damage. Tries to get that lifesteal back. But I don't think he's going to be taking anybody out here.
And I'm a little bit questioning Doublelift and Chauster both being together in the top lane. It's allowing Curse to run amok in the bottom half of COG's jungle. Also, since they were so far back, COG has nowhere else to pressure. That was a nice kill Curse picked up because there was actually just a lack of people on the map for COG.
We'll see. This could pay off in the next few seconds here, but it looks like Curse is going to get back. You're right. It was just held by them, the bottom lane. A few kills will help. Link is pushed out here, and Link really hasn't and is not getting the chance to be the carry that he usually has been for the team as well.
No, and it's kind of a token CLG thing where Doublelift gets the free lane farm, whereas other teams that run Vladimir often let Vladimir farm out the side lane since he actually pushes it much faster than Doublelift. But we got to talk about what team we're dealing with here. CLG always gives it to him. 254 already in 24 minutes.
Yeah, he's going crazy on CS. 9,200 in his pocket. He is 1,000 gold, just about 900 gold over that 8,300 of Cop. So he has the most gold in the game and 1,000 there to spend right now. He's sitting on.
And Link actually trying to get a little bit aggro on Cop. There's a Jace around the back. Ed, Cop, you're in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, Cop should have gone straight up towards that tri-bush, but he runs down. They had him anyways. It was going to be a valiant chase nonetheless.
I really like the home run smash that Jace gets to do, especially when it finishes off a guy. It's like the hammer just disappeared Cop. Cop was where he should not have been. He got a little greedy thinking he'd be able to solo Link. He's done that a few times so far today. He'll kind of overcommit in certain situations and get punished for it. It's difficult.
He has that ward down in the bottom for safety, but I think literally the CS that Doublelift has is forcing him into situations like that. He's like, I need to catch up.
Yeah, he's pressured to match, plus he wants to finish that Iceborne Gauntlet so Curse can play the catch and disengage and engage game. Once Saintvicious goes in, Cop's going to be the one trying to kind of keep people in place.
Everybody back onto the Rift now. Both teams seeing what they have for each other here. 5-3, 3,000, 3,400 actually for the gold lead in favor of CLG right now. 6-3. They're slowly able to just go with this one. The slow and steady wins the race technique. The Bloodthirster coming out from Jace. So this poke just got huge from him. Expect him to be getting that blue buff from here on out.
And what Nien really needs to do is get some armor penetration as well. He's got the AD now.
Skip that last whisper.
Time to get some armor, but the other thing is the AP champions for Curse have yet to build armor, so the poke should still be quite effective unless he decides to fight more Cop, which he actually did pretty good with last time.
Yeah, that wasn't... yeah, chunks of health. Chunks of health are never good when you're losing them. If you're getting them back, you're sitting pretty. Doublelift in the top lane. His build is consisting still of that Negatron cloak. Hasn't gone any further than that. We'll have to see what he decides to go.
He might be trying to farm up for Last Whisper. He's already sitting on 1,900 gold and just kind of wants more. Once again, this is like the lowest pressure game Doublelift has had in the last 4 months. Everyone else on CLG is distracting for him. He's happily gotten to 278 farm while his team actually holds a lead. So this is really good situation for CLG to be in.
They played it well. They got the lane, well, not the lane swap, but the champion swap in. Saintvicious, wow, that was awesome. Condemning him out of the elastic slingshot, pretty much stopped him midair. There's the last few volts. Can they get the tumble in? There's the kill. Doublelift with one. Could he be coming up with another kill? The exhaust is worn off quite early, but he is sitting in that defile. Nyjacky just keeping it on right now. The Hemo Plague goes down. They're taking a bit of damage.
That defile.
Requiem is gonna hurt. It's going for the double kill coming in. Saintvicious to help clean up with the team. Cop comes up with a kill there. Nien to run.
Huge play specifically by Nyjacky right there. Saintvicious trying the escape and actually forcing Doublelift to flash in after for a kill. Once that happened, Nyjacky flashed in and there was no escape for Doublelift. That was a great bait and attack by Curse there. 4 kills in the jungle based off of CLG's first sign of aggression.
And this is the favorite part just after a fight. Everybody's like, shoot everything, push the waves, get the minions pushed. Cop throwing out all the spells that he can, grabbed himself a nice blue buff after that fight. Looks like they are going to get damage on Baron since they have the lead up time. This is the poke from Nien to stop it.
And Karthus is the fastest Baron killer, but he is not up. Nien, with that Bloodthirster, will try to poke. That Baron does not die particularly fast. How long can Nien stall this before the rest of CLG comes to support? That Baron's dead.
There was too much HP for him to just continuously shockwave. That was one of the hardest situations he could have tried to steal it from or just harass them. They get out, buffs on 2, and the Baron on all.
Good call by Curse right there, because that was about 2 or 3 seconds later, and they would have been trapped in the Baron pit without their Karthus with no Requiem. But because they got in there in time, they have it. And now CLG might be trapping themselves in a Dragon pit against a 5-man Baron team.
You can see Doublelift making the smart move. He went around the other side. He was the last one in the Search Brigade, and he would have gotten caught out as the straggler. The Dragon going to Curse. They just can't do anything with that Baron buff on.
And they get the gold lead back too, so that fight really giving them a lot of advantages. 4 kills, plus a Baron, plus a Dragon, and a lot of fear instilled into CLG's play.
Absolutely right on those purchases coming in for Doublelift. Looks like he went for the... Actually bought Home Guards up along with the pickaxe after having that much gold, so he kind of spent across the board instead of towards that one item.
Yeah, he probably just wants to be able to get out of base sooner since he wanted to rush that huge wave over in the top lane there. Now he needs to go back to base and run out to defend that turret. Home Guards are going to be needed for him for the next little while.
Edward going in. You can see the pressure he creates when you least expect it is when it's the best. Big Fat taking quite a bit of damage. The Mystic Shot misses. Now True Shot Barrage going through, and the last one to hit, making it count. Saintvicious taking up the turret very nicely. Looks to have his passive up with the calmness that they're playing with.
Curse pushing while Doublelift is not there, and Chauster was to the side. Another just tactical play by Curse, taking advantage of CLG here.
And their waves are doing the same thing they are. The mid wave is really the next thing they're going to push down. It gives CLG things to think about and time for Curse to just walk around.
And we mentioned it earlier, all of CLG's games are close because they'll do some awesome stuff and then some not so awesome stuff. So it goes back and forth. I'm waiting for the next awesome play by CLG. Curse only has 2 minutes left on this Baron. There's still a lot of farm on a Doublelift. He's 302 minion kill Vayne that has not had a good fight yet. If he saves his flash and uses it to kind of stay back from teams, I feel like Doublelift can do a lot of work, but Curse has done even more.
And we're 30 minutes into this game. Yeah, there's still a few more items being purchased too, but you don't see elixirs just yet, but we are. Even for CLG, they're saying these next fights really matter. It's also Voyboy picking one up on Curse.
He's going for a big elixir. I mean, the time to go back to base, there's a minute and a half on Curse's Baron right now. I think they want some more turrets because CLG is up 6 turrets to 4, and Curse has pulled a slight gold lead up. If Curse can get a bit more map control back, that'll mean the next time Curse wins a fight, they might be able to end a game, but they have to do the previous work to get the turrets down in the first place.
So we got that 34 round Baron coming up. Like you said, they still have that for a minute or so, and they're going to try to utilize it once more. They don't have too much of a pressure in middle, and they've lost the pressure on their side waves here, so they may just get stuck at this turret for the rest of their Baron.
Yeah, the poke from CLG is going to be a lot of keeping him back, but the nice thing about Zach is he can dive on anything if they really want to. If Edward combos it as well, they could dive in.
Oh.
Would be a dangerous play for them, though, and it would be one of those poor things for Curse, as this is tense hole.
You can see Edward was setting himself up in that position, putting himself in a volatile spot. That was very dangerous.
But Curse did get the turret based on the threat of still having that Baron buff. I think CLG's main objective here is making sure they don't lose inhibitor turrets, because those are going to be the things they really want to hold back.
Well, look at that poke on Nien already. 3 of those gets him to half HP. Comp really able to put out some damage here as that blue build coming to fruition. He just needs the last Whisper to finish that off. Looks like they tossed to safety. They're looking to get a grab over this wall, most likely.
And bigfatlp has fallen really far behind here as well, and we knew he was the only kind of sole initiator, but he's even squishier. Even if he dives in, he pretty much dies to defile damage. They want to be able to go in with that Karthus wall, and the squishiness of bigfatlp Sejuani is preventing them from doing so.
The last time they, like you said, they used the Thresh and the Sejuani. It's even more of a walk-in initiation for Big Fat, and like we've said, it's him to be the one doing it. Nien not sporting that blue buff as he really wants to be right now, isn't able to put out enough pressure to stop Curse being at the front door for the last 2 minutes rather.
Yeah, the Baron buff is off though, and Curse gets initiated
perfect
on.
ultimate right there from Sej. Big Fat coming up huge. The Hemo Plague follows after, but it's going to be the Let's Bounce.
Wow.
And it does not look like CLG can follow up too much after that. the Requiem to come down. Everybody stays alive with 3 blinking champions, and it looks like they make it out with a 3 kill.
Link really manned up in that fight, completely killing Cop by himself with that Hemo Plague plus a bunch of follow-up damage. And that was pretty much the instant Curse's Baron went out. Curse was saying, okay, maybe one more. Hey, is our Baron out, guys? Boom, Sejuani ultimate, everyone else followed up. It didn't matter how squishy CLG was because they won that fight before it started.
Yeah, I said Sejuani had to walk in that ultimate, and Big Fat did just that. He gets tossed over the wall. Looks like they're going to just try to harass here. Edward always doing what he can to inflict pain on somebody. It doesn't matter if you're going to kill him or not. He is just trying.
And that was one of those miraculous plays by CLG. Every once in a while, they have another good one. 4 people now pushing, getting the first inhibitor of the game. They got to run now, though.
They got to be careful. Now it's Curse's turn for the miraculous play. So
let's do it.
As it teeters back and forth, Curse now to set themselves up. But with that, CLG was able to protect that turret for, like you said, about 2 minutes. The first rush for CLG was the inhibitor turret and inhibitor.
And 12 turrets down already in 33 minutes. It was a bit of a throwback to that turret push game, but just now I feel like we're going to see the back and forth team fights because there is so much open space on the map right here. Neither team is safe, and because there was such an extended siege, you can see the ward coverage in the middle battle area of the map is low. There's the deep wards, but that's not where these fights are going to be taking place. Everything's going to be about that next Baron, and neither team is actually taking control of that area.
Doublelift continuing its farm, 3:35 now at 33 minutes. Just kind of going good amount of farm for each tick on that timer. Thresh trying to put the wards down. Still the Oracles going around, looking for Chauster. These guys have spent so much gold on Oracles throughout this game. Since 15 minutes, they've been buying them up. Oh, Edward getting locked up on the wall. The Condemn goes down. Vayne throws down the ultimate. Edward not getting out of this one. There's one. And the Wild Growth. Was that thrown out just the end? No, it was not. It was the E from her going off.
And that is still an ultimate from Doublelift, though, so his stealth would not be available if Curse decides to dive him in this fight. And remember, that is just a support with the Baron spawning right now. I don't think CLG can safely take this one, but if they could find a 4v4, they should take it. Or 4v5.
Right. 10-8 here, 34-34 on the clock. CLG now swinging the gold back in their favor. 51-4, 50,000 on the side of Curse. Thresh down, or Edward rather, for another 15 seconds, and they're seeing like, can we pressure out Baron? Let's make sure it's clear, and then we'll start the dance.
And CLG has to be so careful about where they initiate, because they lose fights when they get caught, but there's the Sejuani!
So Edward is still down. They actually get another catch. This is a great initiation again by Big Fat. The Hemo Plague is down. Nyjacky's going to get popped out right there by Wraiths. Saintvicious is pressuring Doublelift, but nobody can follow him on that aggression. He is peeling for himself. Cop, I would not do that. They're going to keep this one safe. It looks like they are going to be able to keep Saint safe as well. And now it looks like CLG to back.
And Nien tried to do the Shock Blast execute that Jace can do on Zac sometimes, but he slightly missed it to the right and did not kill all the bloblets right before they formed. That's why CLG actually has to be cautious with those initiations. We saw how close Doublelift was to falling when he was getting zoned out here because his ultimate was not up as Nyjacky was walking towards him. But because everyone on Curse went back, CLG might have enough damage to rush this down. Even though they're all low health, nobody backed.
Here comes the Ezreal ultimate. It's going to do a good amount of damage. They should be safe if they can micro this in and out here. Chauster's got to be careful, taking a little bit of AoE here from Baron. They get it, and they are going to make their way out. Big Fat with 2 great initiations back-to-back there to really put CLG back on top.
Yeah, he's being very precise with those Glacial Prisons, and the team is going in with him. The Jace Gates are coming down to fire up with a Shock Blast as well as speed Link in, so it's quite coordinated. It's kind of... Link is turning himself into a Shock Blast. bigfatlp is going in. And Nien, Doublelift, and Chauster are kind of sitting back and trying to kill Saint and Nyjacky as they run through. So the majority of these fights, Link and bigfatlp are going to sacrifice themselves to the Karthus AoE, but it probably will work out for them with this Baron buff.
And that Karthus AoE from Nyjacky, it's going to be powerful, but it's not the Rabadons. He went straight around that. He's going for the Zhonya's next as well. And the continuation of the fight, this may go fast for them without that burst damage.
I think it's the right choice, though, for Nyjacky to go without the Rabadons. You got to be careful with your builds on Karthus, since so much of it is about where you die, and if you don't get the Zhonyas to kind of get there and extend the amount of time you get your Defile off, think about the extra 2.5 seconds you get from your Defile from your Zhonya's Hourglass can be more damage than the extra damage you'd have without those 2.5 seconds, even if you had a Rabadon.
Right.
So it depends on this type of the game and how frequently he thinks he's going to get focused, plus where he's going to die.
Right, so how they play this going in. Doublelift seeming to lead the charge here. Feels pretty confident about his items and his play. You see that Negatron has finally been turned into that cleanse. like Quicksilver Sash should say. That's a good alliteration there. Last Whisper for him. It looks like the Infinity Edge to come out just on the back side of that, so he is definitely getting to the hyper carry queen that Vayne is, but the blue build is actually quite completed by Cop.
Absolutely. Cop just has that Mercurial Scimitar left to go.
Right.
He needs that to, I think, break out of Sejuani Ultimates, plus get rid of that Hemo Plague that might get placed on him. Vlad's been destroying him, but CLG going for this inhibitor. I wonder if Curse is going to initiate on them.
Yeah, this is a point in the game we talked to Cloud9 about, is when we know we're strong enough, you just need to go. Everybody needs to go. You will win the fight. With the way Doublelift is right now, Nien, the Baron, they are just needing to go. And Big Fat's really been taking that in consideration here. They're going to try to approach. The wall not down yet. They actually go into Voyboy. They try to lock down Rise, not to get that damage out. Nien from the side just misses Shock Blast. They're going to be able to get to the final down again. Nyjacky rather goes down very fast. Can Edward finish this kill?
Oh, man.
He does have Flash up and he may pursue. Edward flashes over. Oh, he gets the little wolf. They try to just cause chaos in that situation. Cop in the fight. They're able to go 1-for-1 there. Do-si-do. Shutdown for shutdown.
And Doublelift is just chasing him.
He is going to keep going. Rise comes back into the fight. Voyboy did not get eventually taken down from that initial Big Fat aggression. His Saintvicious going down there. The Bloblets were just previously used, and the passive is down. Doublelift could be looking at this inhibitor with Chauster here, but they are low, and they got to be safe.
What a crazy fight, 3 for 3. At one point in this fight, Doublelift had 60 health. He life stole off the wolves as he was using them as a human shield from Edward's hook, and now he's still getting chased down by Voyboy.
Oh, the home guards are coming into play. This is the second or third time Voyboy's come back from this fight, and that time he goes all the way down. Edward is going to follow. The chase from Vayne just too much. The double kill for Doublelift. And he is now 5-1-5.
And he's actually going for a Nexus turret. There's still a second left on Jacky's spawn, but Karthus is coming down. It's Doublelift and Chauster versus the world right now.
Oh, he gets hit up by a quick minion there. Has to turn back. Actually throw out a lay waste that stopped him up. And he is going to just pause. I thought he was going to throw it on the wall and try to go crazy, but that probably would have been 2 shots from Doublelift to take him down.
That was a crazy fight. So much peel and distraction coming out from the rest of CLG. Honestly, Nien taking out Cop with the last breath of his life allowed Doublelift to create the rest of those plays for his team. It's the miraculous CLG games. They have the best games for some reason.
And we just saw a ping towards middle. They're saying, yeah, gung-ho, let's just ride this down mid. We can head to top turret because the minion wave is there. Everything just really working in their favor right now.
2 of the 3 inhibitors are down, so they're going to have super minion waves coming. The third one is exposed. Plus, once they get that down, there's going to be a huge stack of super minions at the base anyway, since there's only 1 Nexus turret trying to shoot them down. Doublelift got his Infinity Edge after the end of that one, so he is a crazy, crazy Vayne. Chauster did hit level 16, so his Wild Growth is healing for, or giving Doublelift 600 extra health, and they're going to try to walk in and take this one, I think.
A lot of Serifs coming out. We have 2 rather on Voyboy. 1 on Voyboy, 1 on Nyjacky. So that's a little bit of damage mitigation for them, but it's really just too much power. It's kind of like those are being negated by the Hemo Plague, then there's extra damage on top of that. They're countering everything that Curse's kits bring to the table right now. Big Fat still with himself out front for the engage.
And CLG is waiting for their super minions to arrive in the base. They're taking their time. Maybe not even on the next wave will they get there, but what CLG wants to do is they want to catch Curse with a person out of the fight so their initiation is cleaner and harder to follow up upon.
The next minion wave, yeah, absolutely right, chat. The minion waves aren't even giving them pressure into the base. They're like, okay, there's the minion wave, but look at your other waves. We're now at your inhibitors.
Very soon those will be at the Nexus turrets, and that's when I think CLG will go in. The minion wave that CLG has in this top lane for the inhibitor doesn't matter. It's all about the 2 lanes that are approaching their base that Voyboy is trying to go against. That's why actually the wall went down despite no minions even being there, because Curse is trying to fight not in the window where Voyboy's there.
Voyboy edging over every so slightly, trying to kind of pull the minion wave with him to the other side of the inhibitor since it'll follow you for a bit. And he looks like he is going to be somewhat positioned to get back with them. He's out of mana. He may need to go back to base real quick and get himself home guarded up here, but it looks like they're trying to take advantage, and CLG finally making some pressure inside the base on that top inhibitor.
So far, so good for Curse's hold, because look at the harass they got down on CLG. That's not going to be healed up.
Nope.
CLG's trying to get this faster, though, because they know their minion pressure will not last forever, and their health is not infinite. There's a Reverie, though. Maybe they're going for more.
Jackie holding onto the wall. There's the execution, or there's the initiation, I should say, rather. Doublelift did so much damage. He gets hit by a Mystic Shot through the entire fight. Great job by Cop. Saintvicious on the backside, so tiny. And then he gets taken down into the Bloblets. He will be safe, but a miraculous thread of the needle by Cop's Mystic Shot to take down Doublelift and stop the pressure.
Great hold by Curse. They recognized what CLG was doing. They played the back and forth just right, and then they got the all-important catch onto Doublelift, which is why they lost their 2 inhibitors in the first place, because Curse couldn't catch Doublelift, but they got him, and that extends the game.
That was fast. You can see how fast that was if you look down at the summoners of Doublelift. He did not even use his barrier in that. Maybe he thought from the safety that he's had he'll be all right, but he got taken down quick. That Mystic shot came out of nowhere. We have 30 seconds pretty much on the death chambers for Doublelift and Link. You can see Curse needs to make moves here. They're getting the ward clears. They're going to try to pressure this. This is scary though. CLG right on the back side.
And barring a disaster, Curse gets this Baron. If CLG tries to fight them with this Baron, since they have no Doublelift and no Link, that's a lot of their damage. They would lose the game off of this. Curse gets a Baron now to hold their dead inhibitors for a while. This generally means that the game's going to last a fair bit longer, Riv.
And we got to remember that that looked free, but nothing is free. Because take a look at the base. All of that has cost the Baron they just got. But it's a slow work towards the advantage that they need right now. 2,000 gold behind.
And specifically, Curse earned that Baron by killing Doublelift during the inhibitor siege. Cop still has a couple items left. The next item for Nyjacky would be the Death Cap. He's still got a long time to do that, but they got a long time to wait. Because I don't think CLG is going to want to go in and actually have a team fight. CLG will want to keep pressure on the inhibitors, but we saw a similar situation happen in the first game of the day, if anyone got a chance to watch the awesome one between Velocity and Nientonsoh, where even though the team comps were a little different, because Velocity had even worse team fighting than CLG has right now, but the concept of a team with Baron defending respawning inhibitors generally means that the team that wants to take the inhibitors isn't stronger in fights. So you get these awkward standoffs where Curse actually wants to fight, but they're constrained by their base right now, so they have to initiate in really strange situations.
We'll see how they work this. The inhibitors coming back up for them is going to help immensely once they get these last waves cleared out. And it's really all about Curse now trying to find that entry that you were talking about. Hard to fight in the base. That top wave is going to need to be pushed, but they're trying to focus. They know CLG is just going to start again to go around the horn with the power that they have.
And another thing that happens while all this is happening is the 3 waves of super minions are all getting farmed by Curse. So the gold, despite CLG having the map position, is trending towards Curse.
And Doublelift, his farm has actually slowed down with the amount of kills they've been getting, which means their farm is... Oh, wow, Big Fat just throwing that out to the side there. Edward making sure that does not hit anybody, but that was from ults for ults. Edward's ult was used there as well, so that's big peel for Cop in this fight.
It may be a blessing in disguise that that bigfatlp ultimate missed, because I don't think CLG could have taken this fight as long as they don't get initiated on now.
Oh, Link gets grabbed. He's going to be forced to pull here. He actually goes Zhonya's. He's going to try to keep it safe and harass the back line. Edward knows he's not dead. He just walks away, and he's going to keep going into the fight. Karth is still going. Nyjacky's been alive for the longest time in these fights, and it's actually able to push CLG out. Nien, or rather Link, towards the top.
Exactly. This is why Curse can't fight, because their base is constantly exposed. The guerrilla warfare comes in from Link because he knew that fight was lost, so he took it in the other direction and cracks down an inhibitor, which keeps Curse in their base.
So the bottom inhibitor not taken, but the top done valiantly by Link. As thought he was going down in the fight, the Zhonya's, and everyone was like, we can't focus this. I've never really seen a Zhonya's not be able to focus that much. He just walked away. Even Edward turned his back to him. The Oracles for Edward is still clear. Chauster keeping that map vision for himself. No, the Oracles is not there, and they have no pink wards for the map. So if anything starts going bad, they're going to have to start getting those back on the map.
And this is a very bold move by Curse here. They're making the call. They got 1 minute left on their Baron. Even though they have an inhibitor down, they're deciding to go. It's not like CLG has a teleport that could take down their Nexus. There's a very small window where Curse can push here, where their inhibitors won't die and their base won't die. So since Curse is up here, it means they're looking to end something, or they should back off very soon.
Only Big Fat and Edward are waiting on the level 18 up, and that's going to be the long timers now for the Death Chamber. Doublelift just coming back in. Doublelift with home guards on will be able to present himself in the fight here soon, and that may be the initiation. Going in onto Big Fat, they get the Link down. Has he been able to get anything out to the crowd control area? No. Nyjacky standing in the middle, and they take him down and walk away from it. The Requiem to do a good amount of damage as Saint tries to capitalize with the synergy. Can Cop follow up? Voyboy and Cop now coming into the fight. Chauster is going to go down as well. We saw Link just previously fall. It's all up to Nien to stay alive. The 1, 2, 3, the punch to the gut, and it's going to be a finalizing Q. No, maybe. There's a
He's still got his guardian angel
coming up. They don't stay for the kill. They're not going to pressure.
They were worried they couldn't end. Ryze is the slowest turret pusher in the game, and Curse is at a risk of losing their own second Nexus turret if they don't go back. An absolutely insane fight. That was Curse's gambit to try to end this game here. It almost worked out, but CLG barely held on.
4 for 3. We saw the Guardian Angel fall just now, so that's not going to be happening next fight. It's quite a long cooldown. I don't think we're at the point of 100,000 gold where that's going to be bought, resold just yet. We're not into that phase of the game, but at 48 minutes in, it's 19 to 19, 300 gold difference, but there's 5 turrets in favor of Counter Logic Gaming. 11 are how many you have on the Rift. That means the Nexus is exposed right now.
I hope CLG, I mean, obviously CLG fans probably don't hope for this for the sake of their health, but like I hope CLG stays like this forever because these games are so awesomely back and forth. There's just some amazing plays happening, but still the inexperience to not close or not do exactly the right thing. So many decisions are forced. You're going to learn really fast playing games like this.
Oh my gosh.
Way faster than just winning in 20 minutes or losing in 20 minutes. This is awesome, League of Legends.
You know, we said last season that teams didn't have a chance to do this over and over again. It looks like they will come into the summer split here. Time still just slowly ticking along as we have not seen any action, waiting for those global objectives to come up. Everybody's kind of like, so what's happened since or the beginning of the game really doesn't matter. It's now what matters about now. This next fight is going to be those 50, 60-second death timers, and it's going to be a final push for any team.
And these teams are both one-tank teams, which makes the team fights much less structured than normal fights. It also means that, say, the dive of Saintvicious isn't necessarily enough to take out Doublelift, or bigfatlp going in isn't enough to take out Cop. So both of, like, the main damage dealers generally have a lot more fighting potential, and they hit each other more often because the tanks get obliterated before the fights start if it's in a structured way, and that's makes the fights actually much more volatile and much more unpredictable.
And we actually see the build structure coming out here. It looks like we will finally get that Rabadons to come out onto a Nyjacky, obviously this late in the game, but it wasn't the Woda for him. That goes to Voyboy, which is actually going to help quite a few members of that team in the next fight.
Woda on Rise, and just Woda in general, is, to me, the most underused plus really powerful item in the game. Even Ezreal is getting a tremendous amount of health back because every Q, every spell that does damage for Cop is healing him with that Will of the Ancients. It's an amazing item. It just doesn't fit in most builds because it's not a selfish item, and there's so much selfish play going on with all the split pushing we've been seeing lately. But when Curse completes an item like that, it's really impactful.
The Mercurial Scimitar finally finished up for Cop. That is the full build. He can get himself out of pretty much anything. A strong power in numbers here coming into the Baron for CLG. And there's True Shot Barrage goes right across. The vision is now there, and so is the rest of Curse.
And they know Cop is a long ways off, so even if this fight comes, CLG might want to take it.
Whoa,
Curse wants to take it right away.
Is going right in. It's not going to be the Smite. Actually, Doublelift gets Baron with the bolts. It's going to be the fight continuing. Nyjacky goes down here. This could be a final fight for somebody. The damage is there from Requiem, but it's Doublelift in the Guardian Angel during the Requiem. He misses the damage. They're able to continue the fight.
Amazing turn of fortune for Doublelift right here. They want to push to end this game. They're calling it out. All 5 of them are alive.
They're trying to go for this. It's Cop. That is a nice Iceborne Gauntlet Cop, but it's only going to slow them down for so much. He's doing a good bit of damage here. They're still trying to chase, putting the wards down for any kind of exit and then re-engage. But like you said, Jat, this could look very grim here with 40-second timers on 3.
Cop and Edward, 2v4. They have 1 Nexus turret to hold. This is an insurmountable task for these guys, but let's see what they can do.
Let's see what can happen. The Nexus is open. It's not going to be a lot for them unless Edward turns into a gigantic brick wall for the Nexus. It's CLG coming out with another 51-minute game into the late game.
And it's so funny because we talked to Doublelift after their last 70-minute game about the 6th item.
His head.
Seriously, about the 6th item. Because Doublelift